So we're still running here. This is still the same software. We still have $100,000. Unfortunately, our the bottom half of our economy. There's a lot of people over here that are in debt. They keep on borrowing money. They're still going lower and lower and lower. The average amount of debt per bottom 50 is going larger and larger negative. The average amount of wealth per the agents at the top is getting larger and larger and larger. This doesn't, adding wealth and adding liability and introducing debt into our system did not seem to be the way to get out. So I wanted to end on a happier note than, oh my gosh, we're all going to die. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this. I'm going to go over here to the code. What I want to do is I'd like to introduce the idea of, and again, this is not why we're making this course, it's just showing some cool things, is in a capitalist society, and especially in this major integrated science, business, and technology, we like to think that when we innovate, when we invent things, that we create new ideas, we create new products, we create new services. We like to think that we create happiness, and we also like to think that we create wealth. That when we innovate, when we make new things, rather than just you give me $1, I give you $1, you give me $1, I give $1, hey Bob, I'll see you tomorrow, here you go, Gary, here's your $1. There's not much awesomeness going on. It's just an exchange economy. And then we added a little bit of excitement. Again, if you're just following along, you're talking about green turtles. We added some excitement by bringing in a banking industry that allowed debt to happen, and now things really got worse. But if we live in a society where we innovate, and when we innovate, we add value and we actually create wealth. So rather than you give me $1, I give you $1, what if you give me $1, and because you are buying something awesome, I give you something that's awesome, and it's actually worth more than $1. It's actually worth $1 and, I don't know, 5 cents, 105. Rather than getting wealth by borrowing it for somewhere else, we can create wealth. We can actually increase the value of something, and we do this whenever we innovate. We increase the value of a product by adding more features. Yes, sometimes the price goes up, but we increase the value, of course. Maybe we take a field, we buy some land, and then we go ahead and we clear it, and we get rid of the rocks, and we go ahead and we fertilize it, and then we put in some seeds, and all of a sudden that same land, before, which was just land, and it's lovely, but now that we've put some labor into it, now we actually have a cornfield, and now we've raised a crop, and we've added some sunshine, and we've added some fertilizer, and we've added some rain, and all of a sudden now we've created corn, more corn, out of nothing. And when we sell that corn, we have things and products to sell that just didn't exist before. So when you create and design a smartphone and you have folks assemble it and put it together, and maybe the parts themselves, maybe the parts, I'm just guessing, maybe the parts is $50 worth of parts, but it's a brand new phone and does great things. Maybe you sell it for $500, sort of an average middle of the line smartphone. We're creating wealth, we're creating money in the system. So that's what I want to do. Rather than increasing the wealth by $1, so over here, set wealth, wealth minus 1, and over here, set wealth, wealth plus 1, what I want to do is I want to set the wealth, let's go ahead and give it, I don't know, let's give it a value. I'll say 0.05. Let's say that whenever we do a transaction, we have 5%. We add 5% in growth of wealth of the system. Okay, so now I'm just not randomly, but every time this runs, I'm going to assume that every turtle is increasing wealth. They're innovating and adding 5 cents on every dollar. Now I could program this. I'm just not going to take the time to do it. Our total wealth is going to increase. I know I went ahead and changed it from 50,000 to 100,000, but now every time this runs, every dollar is going to increase by 5 cents. So this is actually increasing. So our total wealth will increase, but this will not update because it's just a label. But let's set this up. Let's go ahead and say go, and let's see what happens. Okay. So right away, you might notice that these guys here are here's our two lines again. Here's the reds. The top 50% is still getting more wealthy than the bottom 50%. But look at what's happening to the bottom 50%. Relativistically, the top 50% is still getting more rich than the bottom, but because even the bottom folks are benefiting from this 5% growth, everybody's winning. Everybody's getting more rich. And you'll notice over here, eventually this whole thing is going to slip the whole way over here to the top. And now everybody is has more money than $500. It looks like everybody is now relatively absolutely, I should say, absolutely, everyone's now a maximum 500 heir. But again, if you look at just the difference, you would say, oh, those red folks, they're horrible because they have much more money than the blue folks. But together, comparative-wise, everyone's doing fantastic. This is the phrase where we say a rising tide lifts all boats. So if we have an economy that has a 5% increase in gross domestic product, GDP, then this is what we see. So this is why economists suggest that the best way to make everybody happy, the best way to make an economy work, even when you have debt, remember we still have debt in here, even when you have debt, to make an economy so that we're all rich is to make sure that we're all innovating and we're all adding value to what we do, rather than here's a dollar, give a dollar, here's a dollar, give a dollar. Now this is 5% GDP. That's pretty high. That's pretty fast. If I were to stop this and go back to our code and change this to 3%, 3% GDP is where we were at before COVID shut us down. So this was the real. Now the economy of the United States is much more complex than this simple but a 3% GDP is about right for just humming along. And even a 3% GDP, you'll notice that's a cool thing. We still have this one turtle down here. Oh, they left. Even this turtle that was in debt, they moved up. And again, the total wealth, I would have to go ahead and I would have to add these things to keep a running total of the total wealth. It wouldn't take much to do that. But and now it just turns out that we're all going to be 500 heirs, a little bit slower. If we could do 5% GDP growth, fantastic. If we could do 10% GDP growth, that's awesome. That's not inflation. We're not talking about the prices went up artificially. We're talking about creating real wealth in the economy or real wealth in the system. And the way that you create real wealth is that you innovate. So again, if people ask, why are you studying ISBIT? Why do you like teaching innovation to your friends and family? Why do you insist on working for your own company or another company that makes new products? Because, hey, this is what we do. This is how our system works. If we innovate, then this simple economy, everybody wins. You can see even these lower folks over here, they were much higher than what we started. Everybody started at $100. This 3% growth goes up. And yes, we have recessions where it goes back down in a real system. It's cyclic. But this seems to be how we model how our quote unquote free market capitalistic society should work. This is how it would work if everyone followed the rules. Again, this agent-based system has rules, and if everybody follows the rules the way that these turtles do, we'd all be well off. Now, unfortunately, in a real society, not everybody follows the rules. Maybe some folks don't wish to innovate. Oh, don't bother me. Or it's Friday. I don't innovate on Friday. I'm going to go out and enjoy myself. Congratulations. Maybe that's a reward. Or maybe I don't wish to innovate from age 30 to age 50. Now you're taking a bigger break. Or maybe I don't want to innovate. I want to do something nefarious. I want to do white collar crime and I want to cheat somebody. Not suggesting that we go ahead and plug in some nefarious ne'er-do-wells inside of our system, but we could do that. But if everybody did what was expected, and this is the system designed this way, then everybody wins. By the time I got done chatting over here, everybody has won. Everybody is a 500 heir. And in our system, a 500 heir is somebody who's amazingly wealthy, and the economy is just growing on top of that. And innovation is how we go about doing that. So that's what I wanted to talk about.